Right, here we go, back again on the other side of the coin.
All right, we are back again on the other side.
Younes, wake up!
I'm not sleeping.
Cracked me up, man. That just cracked me up. Live chat was just going bonkers that Younes is having a sleep. People are already telling me off 5 minutes late. Guys, look, I'm not. This is not lateness is greatness. That's a Matisse thing. Do you know what I mean? That's his channel. We were just having a chat because we haven't seen each other for a little while. So we just got a bit too caught up, but do apologize. I mean, we're only, 8 minutes late. So guys, just relax a little bit. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to talk about England versus Germany. This is the Euros round of 16 match preview. Some believe it's coming home. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. But yeah, before I get to talk to the live chat, and then obviously, big you guys up for, supporting me throughout. I want to say hello to Matisse and also hello to Younes. First of all, Matisse, my man, how you doing?
All good. I'm in a pointless back and forth on Twitter. So it's the usual start to my Monday morning.
Bro, don't even, bro. Don't
engage, bro.
Why did you just?
It's been a while.
I have to talk about this now.
It's been a while.
You know what happened to me? Yes.
What's happened?
First of all, Younes, how you doing? And then we're gonna have to talk about this because I feel like it's my channel. Goddammit, we're gonna talk about this. So, Younes, how you doing?
I'm good, man. It's great to be back amongst you guys since I wasn't on All You Can Eat Chelsea last week. But now I'm intrigued. What's happened that I don't know about on Twitter?
But Matisse, you go first, and then I'm going to share my story.
Okay, great, guys. Get your popcorn. This is going to be good.
It's nothing major. It's just I've clocked here. People are either tracking me or they're extremely petty and they're bored. So I said that we shouldn't sign. Well, I said that no one should really be making the conclusion that we should sign Dumfries from Holland, from the Holland national team after playing 4 games.
I saw that.
And for right wing back in a position where we was tracking Hakimi, a world-class player, and we've got Tino Livramento who's got potential. So unless they're world-class for me right now, I just wouldn't bring in a right wing back, especially based on 4 games. And now they're out of the tournament, by the way. And so there's not even going to be any more games. And there's no, we know people are not reading reports on Dumfries from fucking PSV. And then in comes, I'm not even going to mention the account because I'm not going to bother.
Yeah, we all know. We've seen it, bro.
In comes the account, he's like, oh, but you said the same about Mbayombe yesterday. I'm like, well, difference being is that A, he's already part of our setup and he's 6'5", so he is a physical specimen whether he plays football or not. And then B, I think it's safe to assume, even with just a few games and plus the Barca B games, which you can see, you can see a decent amount on YouTube, but then also the reports, which are the most important thing as well, that are done by very credible people like a Joe Tweedy, who's writes lyricals about him, that he technically is above most people in the youth setup. It's fair to say that, especially when he's been signed by Chelsea scouts, who are some of the best eyes for talent.
Bro, everything that you
level.
said made sense.
Chelsea scouts don't usually take people from trials at 18 and say, we're going to sign you and bring you into our youth setup, which is the best youth setup in the world, arguably, but you're going to be technically shit. It's not really likely, is it? Just trust the scouts. I would expect any youth account to do that, but it is where it's. I don't understand today.
It's like you can't say a thing in that platform anymore without someone taking something out of context. I'll share you my story. Yesterday, I woke up and I've been absolutely bombarded with all the things I had said about Jorginho during Frank Lampard time. Someone created a 9-page thread that I generally do for my thread analysis when I'm actually doing like a player analysis. Someone did a 9-page thread on me about all the stuff I wrote about Jorginho during Frank Lampard time and started saying that I'm a disgrace to my nation. I'm a disgrace to Chelsea. Yeah, look, I woke up because people started tagging. Yeah, it was a thesis. I woke up and people just started tagging me there, right? And I'm reading this and I'm like, this is a year ago under Frank Lampard. Do you know what I mean? And And at first I thought, you know what, I'm not going to engage in this because I'm fed up, man. Like, I don't want to engage in this warfare. But then I saw some of the guys that actually follow me and have known me for a while. They've jumped in and they've backed me over there, and they were busting their backside to help me out. So I thought, what, they're doing my battle, I should jump in and do my own battle. So I jumped in and I had literally spent hours and hours yesterday trying to explain to this lad that, dude, you're taking it out of context, man. What I was saying was Frank Lampard deserved to get his player. Jorginho was not the player that he needed because he wasn't using him correctly. Now Thomas Tuchel is. So I'm praising. What do you want me to do? Still bag out Jorginho now? And you know what the crazy thing is, boys? This guy was a Jorginho fan like none other, and he was getting upset with me that I'm actually doing Jorginho prop now. I'm like, what are you upset about? I'm with you now.
Pick one, exactly.
I'm believing in you. He's like, no, you're fake. You just say how you feel. I'm like, I am saying how I feel. Oh man, it's total madness. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we actually here for the England.
I've literally just seen, whilst you guys were talking about it, I thought, let me go on Matisse's page and see what's gone down. And I've seen what account, and I'm just like, oh my god.
Yeah.
This is. I'm not surprised. Basically, I'm not surprised.
Can I say something, Younes?
He's just on smoke. He just came for smoke.
Can I say something, Younes? I don't generally see you interacting with that account too much. Generally, you see all the stuff in the timeline.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just putting it out there.
I mean, at one point I used to. I think months ago, I started to realize just how much of a bit of an agenda that account carries sometimes. And I thought, and then you know what? I got blocked by that account.
Oh wow! What? I got blocked by the other one. Who's got more?
I'm surprised I'm not blocked there, but then again, I don't really interact.
But then, I've been unblocked, and
it's just very weird, Younes, to see someone who's extremely pro-youth going against youth and their scouting system and eye for talent. It's I'm the one fighting the youth battle today. It's very weird. Over a first teamer in somebody else's setup. It's so weird. What's going on?
You know what? Honestly, no one knows who Dumfries is. No one knows who Dumfries is. I don't even know who Dumfries is. I've not even seen the brother play. As far as I'm concerned, it doesn't even exist for me. You know what I mean? Seriously. I've been telling people about Goossens as well. People, let's get Goossens as a backup. I've seen Germany's game. No, he's a good player, but no backup needed. Do you know what I mean? No backup needed. But anyways, let's get straight into this. Sir Daddy, thank you so much for the super chat. Free Timo from the bench. We'll talk about that. I'm not really sure whether I really want to free him. I think he's okay to be in the bench for the time being, but we'll talk about the Germany side of things. Let's get straight into it. Younes, I'll go to you first up, my man. What's the mood like in UK, I suppose in England, but around your area? What's the? I don't get to see that much excitement all over. Do you know what I mean? But obviously you can share your thoughts around your neighborhood and whatnot. I mean, is this the biggest game that's happening at the moment? Obviously, international level. Don't say it. Don't say it, Younes.
Oh, I couldn't say it. Oh God, I can see it in his eyes.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
You see, Miz, I don't live far from Younes. What I did is I ran past his house with a flag, going, "Come on, England!" And then now he's hyped. Got nothing to do with what happened on the pitch. It's just the atmosphere.
But the guy has been saying that phrase 2 weeks before Euros had started. I mean, I'm starting to believe he actually believes it.
Here's the thing, yeah. So throughout the group stage, I realized that the atmosphere was flat. No one looked really bothered. When in England game's on, everyone's like, yeah, okay, come on, England, get the drinks out, bish, bash, bosh, nice one. And then the game's over and it's like, okay, we're not actually that good. And then we got through, top of the group. Now we're playing Germany. All of a sudden, the hype is now increasing.
Oh, wow.
Right, it's starting to get serious, and I expected this. I knew before the tournament that I wouldn't be hyped throughout the group stage, that we'd make it through, and then once the knockout games start, I'll start taking it seriously, and I'll start getting excited, because that's where the real competition begins. Yeah, it's the knockout.
That's the nitty gritty.
That is the nitty gritty. Yeah, that is where it gets proper. So I was like, yeah, when we make the knockout stage, I'm expecting it to increase. Now, the fact we have Germany and it's at Wembley makes it tenfold. Because for England, like the one team you don't want to lose against are the Germans.
Yeah.
Because history and, some are going to say World War II and, this, that.
Yeah, there's a lot of political issues as well. There's
a big history, England, Germany, yeah? So we can't lose.
Matt Hancock is at the center of everything right now.
Yeah, that's true. Matt Hancock took...
Bro, that video. Oh, Matisse, you should have done a skit on that, bro. That deserves a skit.
Matt Hancock stole the thunder, basically. Like, if it wasn't for that, everyone would be talking about England, Germany. But because that's happened, it's kind of taken the thunder away. But I guarantee tomorrow, this is where everyone stands. And I think Matisse will back me up. If England win tomorrow, a lot of people begin to believe it's coming home. And everyone will start getting hyped and the flags will start coming out and everyone will start getting back into that fever that we had in the World Cup if we beat Germany. I think a lot of people don't expect us to beat Germany, though. And I think people are being a bit cautious. Yeah, me included, I'm not going to lie. But there's always that hope. And I'm going down the avenue that I took with Chelsea. I was like, look, if we beat Atletico, we can begin to dream. And now I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, if we beat Germany, we can begin to dream. So, look, just because it's England and it's the sake of it, and you've got to soak up the occasion, it's coming home.
I mean,
all that logic just to say that at the end, Younes.
All of that, I'm going to say it's coming home. That's what it is. That's a sum up from Younes. But you know what, Younes? From that side, I'm just looking at it. This is the biggest game, and then after that, it's either Ukraine or Sweden. And then after that, it's Denmark or Czech Republic. Then again, Denmark, they're in a bit of a madness at the moment. So I'm not really sure about that one. But I do understand what you mean, because this is the big game, and then from there, you're really
the route to the final is clear.
The route to the final, really. Matisse, have you been impressed one bit with England at all so far with the matches they've played? I think Scotland, Croatia, Czech Republic. I haven't watched the Czech Republic one. A lot of people were saying that was actually a better game. I've seen Croatia and Scotland, and I've got to say, I was not impressed one bit.
I have been impressed, to be honest, because there's these ads that come up on Instagram that can make you fall asleep. Apps, they play sounds, music sometimes. And I thought about getting one, but I was like, let me just wait until, a few weeks pass by. Maybe my mattress will improve. Maybe the sounds of, nearby foxes chewing each other's head off outside my window will help me go to sleep.
Pick up the phone.
And then I discovered this little something called England's national team. And for 3 games straight, I kid you not, I have fallen asleep every time. And now I'm starting to ask, hopefully these games will all be 8 p.m. kickoffs, because then I will just sleep through the night.
Knocked out.
I'll just move on with my life. Because the 5 p.m. kickoffs, then I've got to wake up. I've got to look around deliriously. Haven't even eaten. What's going on? It's a struggle. And I'll probably miss some of the second game as well. So that's where I've been impressed with. Now, if you're asking from a football standpoint, absolutely not. We have been boring, lethargic, just every single word I could pull out of the dictionary that is not not complimentary. That's what we've been. I don't want to go on because YouTube. I don't want to get you demonetized. We've been really poor, really boring, and it's a struggle to get through our games right now. There doesn't seem to be a plan, and that's not really a surprise considering the man that's in charge now. All of these criticisms of mine. If we was to beat Germany, I'd be shocked for one point, and second, it would be a massive moment for the manager because he hasn't really proved himself in many people's eyes. The World Cup, we saw what it was. The first time we came up against a decent side, we got knocked out. And the qualifiers, England have always managed to smash their ways through the qualifiers because we end up playing, teams that are like, in the 50 to 100th place in terms of, world ranking. So until if he beats Germany, that'll be his first big moment for me as a manager. I think he's beaten Brazil, but that was a friendly. And this is the first big moment.
I think the last time they played Germany was 0-0, 2017.
Yeah, and if he doesn't, then he's done what I expect him to do: get through the groups, and then as soon as we come up against someone decent, we lose. Yeah. And like you said, like you guys have said, when you see who's on this side of the draw, it's quite promising. This is the last so-called big team. And whoever wins this game should really go to the final if they're serious. If they don't, they've fumbled the bag massively if they don't get to the final. No disrespect to the other teams, but whoever wins this game should be favourites to get to the final.
You know what, Matisse, but the English media is saying that generally the winner doesn't really perform in the group stage. So they come alive after the group stage. That's what they're drumming.
So if we don't perform now tomorrow, what's the excuse then? Oh well,
generally
Germany.
It's not the second
we always lose.
No, I guarantee if we lose tomorrow, if we somehow get destroyed, the press. This is how the press act. The press will ride the coattails. Yeah, the press will add the hype. They will try and big up England, and as soon as it goes wrong, the headlines will be, "Oh, this is a disgrace. This is wrong. Look at this," and it just is. It goes complete 180. So the fact that it's Germany at Wembley adds to that, and the fact that we've been playing poor, and this is the crazy thing. We've been playing poor, right? Really bad. Scotland was a terrible game. Even the Czech Republic game,
Scotland should have won.
Yeah, and the Czech Republic game, we did better, but it wasn't convincing if we're going to come up against a top team. But we still got the job done. Now you look at yesterday and the way that Czech Republic played against Netherlands, and they knocked out the Netherlands. Yeah, and you look at us and we go, "Oh, we beat Czech Republic 1-0 playing dodgy." So what does that say about us? It makes you wonder. Can we actually play well and get a result tomorrow? If we do, it will change everything.
Yeah, no, 100% agreed. Let me tell you guys something about Germany. I'm not sure if you guys have been watching a lot of the Germany games. I've watched most of the Germany games. Yeah. I've got to say, their form is very inconsistent as well.
Yeah,
I think against France, they played very naively. I think France were just very smart. They were waiting for the time, counter-attack pace with Mbappe, Benzema, in the middle, Pogba and Kante were really controlling everything, even though Germany had the ball, but they were just going sideways. It was like watching Chelsea back in those times when we were just not that pretty to watch. And then the Portugal game, it was as if everything that you expect from a back three with the wing backs play, it just came into fruition. Wing backs wide, bringing the ball in. The front three were inside forwards, much like Chelsea at times when we played with the back three last season. And then against Hungary, I kid you not, Hungary should have really won that. They pressed so well. They played so well. Germany just got lucky right at the end. Obviously, Kai Havertz's goal, and then Leon Goretzka came in and provided something extra in the midfield and really got lucky. So honestly, boys, I wouldn't be surprised if England do nick a win here. I don't think it's out of the question at all. Like, a lot of people are saying that England's the underdog here, but it's not like a massive underdog. It's not a huge difference when you look at from the form wise. I mean, is that how you would see it as well, Younes? Or do you see it like, nah, Germany's well ahead?
No, I fully agree. I think when we got Germany, just the fact that it's Germany, that's the only thing. You hear Germany, you think, crap, one of the best teams in the world. But if we look at it in terms of this competition, they've been the most inconsistent team in that group of death. And they were quite fortunate to get second place. So when you look at it, would England have rather played France? Hell no. Yeah. Would England have rather played Portugal? Even so, you look at Portugal, and yes, the way that they played yesterday wasn't convincing enough. But compared to the form that they had in that group with Germany, Portugal looked better. Hungary, massive surprise. And I don't think it's a case of the other teams playing dodgy. I think it's a case of Hungary actually playing really good.
But Hungary played mad against France as well, Younes.
Yeah, mate, they put them to the sword. Yeah. And that wasn't by luck. That wasn't just an off day for France. France didn't play badly. Hungary played really well. And they done that throughout the group. And if it wasn't for the last 5 minutes, Hungary would have gone through. And Hungary would have finished second. And Hungary would have been playing against England. And I looked at that and I thought, if England play against Hungary, I feel slightly more worried about that than I do about playing Germany. And the fact that Germany did get that last goal in the last 5 minutes and put them through into second makes me a bit more confident. Makes me look at that and go, you know what? Out of all 4 teams, I think we've got the best one here, even though it's Germany. So we'll see what happens. The reality is, if Germany do show up and Germany do actually have a good day at the office, we're getting wrecked.
That's the thing.
But if they don't and they play like how they have in the group, as long as England are just focused and not doing stupid crap and Southgate doesn't put out any blunders, we should be all right.
And you know what? That's the thing, and I'm going to go to Matisse now. Look, I'm not going to bore people with the history and the Frank Lampard ghost goal and whatnot. We know there's been history. But as Younes said, if Germany rock up that particular night, you guys will remember 2014, I believe, World Cup, Brazil got a thrashing on that particular day from Germany. I think it was 7-1 or 8-1, something like that. Can't really remember exactly the score. But yeah, it was about 7-1, I think.
7-1. Yeah.
7-1.
And the goals were coming rapid. I think it was 5-0 by half time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if it's on the night, it can click, and you know it can click. Matisse, let's talk about some matchups, man. I'm really wanting to see a couple of the players, especially Declan Rice. There's a lot being said, and he's still the number one sort of player apparently for our midfield selection during this summer transfer window for Thomas Tuchel. I really want to see how Declan Rice combats the midfield of, I believe, it'll probably be Cruz and Leon Goretzka, but then again, it could be Gundogan as well. But then you have the forwards, which I believe probably Havertz, Serge Gnabry, and Leroy Sané. Could be Muller in there instead of, say, Leroy Sané. What's your thoughts about that matchup, Declan Rice coming up? Because this is what we live for, right? The big games. The big games are the ones that we want to see that how they actually fare, yeah?
Yeah, the names that you're reading off there are quite problematic people. They do tend to cause issues for players in those DM positions. I think, listen, for Declan, he's been brilliant at West Ham, brilliant in the Premier League, but he hasn't got any Champions League experience. So this is where he'll be coming up against players that he would never have played against before, like your Toni Krooses, who don't need to be, charged about the pitch. They just take their time with it and just pass you off the pitch like a Luka Modric did for Croatia against Scotland. So this is where the level goes up a bit, and it's going to be very interesting to see him against these ilk of players that you've mentioned who play for your Bayern Munich, who Kai Havertz at Chelsea, who we've seen now has come into his own the last couple of weeks of the season, getting the goal in the Champions League final, and then also now for Germany, he's getting quite a few goals as well, keeping Timo out the team, hence the hashtag that we saw earlier on in the chat. And their midfield, like you said, Goretzka for me is one of the best box-to-box midfielders in the world. Yeah. I liken him a lot to what Chelsea used to have back in the day, where we had quite a lot of box-to-box mids, and they were quite powerful, quite strong, technically astute, got in the box and tried to score goals as well. He does remind me a lot of Chelsea's old midfield, and he's one of those players that I'd bite your hand off for. He's one of my favourites, to be fair, right now.
Superb player, man. Yeah. Superb player.
Toni Kroos is a technician. We know that. And, Gundogan's had a really good season at Man City, scoring goals and playing different roles for them under Pep. So, Muller is Muller. He needs no introduction. So, we're coming up against some of the best here. And if England are to do well, I think him, Declan Rice, hasn't had the greatest of tournaments. He's going to have to step up massively. He's going to have to show for the ball a lot more than he has. He's going to have to really want to dictate and get on it, very much similar to how Jorginho has for Italy, which is something that I've mentioned many times with Chelsea's midfield. Yes, you can point out the weaknesses of a Jorginho, but if someone's going to come into that DM position, they're going to need to be able to do what Jorginho does, because we are a possession-based team. Declan Rice is going to have to be a little bit more daring on the ball and show for it a lot more and take that responsibility alongside Calvin Phillips. So I'm assuming that Calvin Phillips and Rice have been playing together to establish a partnership, even though we haven't always needed them to play together in those games, because you'd hope for a bit more attacking intent and maybe an extra attacker on the pitch. This is the game where that partnership is put to the test, and the reasons behind playing them consistently are now going to come to fruition, because if they don't drop a good performance as a pairing, then all those games we played previously where I fell asleep have been wasted time, because this is where you play them now, and you see what they've been cooking up in training and also in these matches prior. So if they're going to have to be on their guard, man, they're going to have to track. And like you said, just finally with this formation, because the wing backs stick out, we know how it goes at Chelsea. Sané can tuck in, Gnabry can tuck in, they can get into those half spaces. Kai Havertz is very good coming into those deeper areas as well. So he's going to have to do a lot of tracking. And I wouldn't be surprised if either of these two, Phillips or Rice, actually come off at some point in the game and someone else comes on just due to energy levels, because I think like Germany are going to have most of the ball, to be honest.
Yeah, man. I mean,
I want to say really quick, sorry. Because they play in a back three, don't be surprised if Southgate deploys a back three tomorrow.
Just
to match it up. That's the favorite formation at the moment. I was just reading up that he'll possibly be a three at the back. But you know what, Younes? This is the crazy part. You guys haven't been playing the three in the group stage, though. So
not in the group stage, but with Southgate, even prior, the World Cup, for example, we played a back three. So it's not unfamiliar. And with Southgate, I think that's probably his go-to, or the formation that he'd love to play. I feel like there's been pressure for him to go to a back four from the public and from the pundits and everyone, because we want to see an attacking brand of football because of the players that we have. We don't want to just sit back and defend because we know the players that we have. It's on paper one of the best teams in the world. In terms of attacking talent, we are filled with talent, but we play defensively and it just restricts everyone. But I feel like against Germany, playing in that back three, this is Southgate's moment to go, I finally get to do what I want to do. Let's play a back three. Let's play how I want us to really play. And that's probably, weirdly enough, going to be the best solution for us. Because if we try and go all-out attack against Germany, yes, we could get opened up. We could get hurt. We could get seriously hurt. And you mentioned John Stones just there. I think it's wise to not put him in the same half space as Kai Havertz because he might get PTSD. So if he can be moved to the other side, that would be great. They don't have to come across each other.
The Champions League horror show. But I mean, I'm not sure if both of you guys, I'll ask Younes this one. I'm not sure if you guys seen this quote from Lothar Matthäus. He said that he can't understand why Sancho is not even getting a look in at all. And he said, if Sancho wants to play for Germany, he'll more than willing to have Sancho play for Germany because they will use Sancho in their team.
For real.
I mean, how do you guys feel about that Sancho doesn't even play?
Mate, we've been calling for Sancho. I think Matisse said it as well. We've been calling for him for ages, man. Like, just...
I've stopped calling because I got a sore throat now.
But yeah, exactly.
Could he possibly play for Germany if he continues in Bundesliga? Let's just say if he doesn't move.
No, he's already played for England. That's
Right.
If he hadn't played for England for the seniors in an official competition, he would have had that opportunity, but now it's done. So, but anyway, I don't even know if that's possible. Has he got citizenship or something? Because he's born in Camberwell. That's just over there. That's not very far. But we've wanted Sancho. To be honest, the last game we wanted Sancho and we got Saka.
Yeah.
And to be honest, Saka played really well. Yeah. So in hindsight, cool. I'm fine with that. But we need to be able to use that talent that we have, and we just haven't done that enough. And Sancho is clearly a baller. So we want to see players like him play. And it's crazy when they don't even get a look in. I think it was the public and the reaction that forced Southgate to play Grealish. Because if not, I don't think he would have played Grealish.
You know what? That's the crazy part. This guy gets moved by the public. Like, do what you want to do and stick to it. Do you know what I mean? If that's what you believe, that you don't want to use Grealish, then don't use it. Don't be using Grealish because you're getting pressured, like peer pressure. Like, I mean, I just find that so strange for a particular manager. But Matisse, Mason Mount and Reece James now, I want to talk about them. Obviously, I feel like, they've experienced one of the toughest of the toughest as you can have in Champions League final, and they came up absolute trumps. Reece James was brilliant that game. Mason Mount with the assist was brilliant. You just know these two boys would at least be up for it. I mean, obviously, Reece James will have Goossens on his side. He may have Leroy Sané to deal with on his side as well. Mason Mount, I feel like, will press the living daylights off whenever Germany wants to play from the back, especially Matt Hummels. I'm worried. This is one player I'm worried if Mason Mount can nick the ball off him. I'm just scared that he'll put one away against New York. But how do you feel about Mason Mount and Reece James? I mean, does that give you a bit of comfort that these two boys should be living up to it?
They've got big game experience, of course, so I don't see why they wouldn't be selected. I think that right-hand side, starting with Reece, is very important because, like you said, I think Goossens defensively can be got at. Yeah. Definitely over the right-hand side, which I think, Kimmich is probably one of the best players in the world over there. And yeah, obviously Rudiger doesn't help, but definitely, just sticking onto Goossens, that is a player position that we can target. So whoever starts right back or right wing back or right wing are going to need to go out. They're going to need to go out there and really put some pressure on him and try and get some delivery into Harry Kane, because he's going to play and he's kind of been, a non-factor so far. And yes, you can partly put it with maybe it's his game as well. The fact that he does need the ball to feet a lot of the time because he can't run the channels as much as a Lukaku can, and he can't stretch defenses like that. So you do need to be quite accurate, and that's not something I would rely on England to be on at the moment with what's going on. And then, so you'd want to get some service to him. You'd want to get some service into him, some cutbacks, some crosses, and try and at least get him in the game and get him some touches. And then with Mason Mount, as his comment says, I don't even know if he's playing because he,
What is it? What's the latest? Like in UK, like what's going on? Are they playing? Are they they're in isolation still?
I have no idea. I just know Mason Mount has been training away from the actual team, and then Chilwell also as well. And then now it's they say that he's up to the level Mason Mount feels like he's up to the level he needs to be to play. But then maybe other people will disagree and say, listen, don't know about that. So I don't think it's guaranteed that Mason plays. So I've kind of been putting an 11 in my head without him at this point, just as a precaution. And also with the formation as well, if he does play, he's going to be competing against Grealish, against Saka. Saka had a really good game last game. So if we are playing a back three, Mason's chances of starting are diminished a little bit because Grealish could play behind the striker. Sterling could play, who's one of our only goal scorer, and Saka's in decent form as well. So it's Mason, Saka, Grealish, and Sterling for those two positions behind the forward if you are playing a back three. So that does take it away because I don't think he's going to play in that pivot. I think that will be where Rice and Phillips come in. So I think a back four will help Mason play in this team a lot more than a back three will.
Yeah, no, makes sense, man. Makes sense. Let's continue this conversation. See what both of you guys. I think this will trigger a lot more discussions as well for the match. Both Younes and Matisse. Is it safe to say that it'll probably be three at the back for England?
I think it will.
You think so? Yeah.
I think it will. I'll be surprised if it's a back four.
See, I'm more surprised if he switches it up. Well, actually, no, I'm not really. I'm not surprised with anything he does. I just think you've been. I don't know, like Germany are obviously the better team because they're better coached. But I think if you're going to change your setup based on one game, that tells me already that you're going into the game as a victim. You're going into the game that you're going to...
As a victim.
You agree?
You are.
Only Gunnar Solskjaer vibes.
Yeah, you're going in there as a victim. I mean, if our plan is so good, why not just play our plan? I mean... We'll see in it. I mean, this team have experience in the back three at least, so it shouldn't be too problematic.
A lot of the articles that I've been reading, because Athletic has been pumping England articles. I don't know, they're so excited at the moment, and they've all been saying that it's probably going to be switched to a three at the back. It was just in the group stage. It was just that they knew that they were going to come out of the group stage, and after that, it was always going to be three from here on in. Yeah, if you guys go all the way to the final, that is. So let's just assume that it is a three. I was sort of thinking the same thing as well, that why keep playing the four when you could have just continued playing the three and then just keep developing on it as you go into the round of 16, which is strange. But let's assume, as I said, if it's a three, Younes, I'll start with you and see what Matisse has to say as well for other positions. Has to be Pickford over here, yeah?
Yeah, Pickford. There's no one else.
Well, who is the backup keeper?
It was there was Henderson, but he might have been number one, but he had to go. He withdrew. So
there is no backup keeper.
No, so there's Johnston and there's Ramsdale. The other two. So it's Pickford. It's going to be Pickford.
Yeah, it's always going to be Pickford, which is good news for Germany because I think he's suspect at times, Pickford. I'll let you have...
For England, I just want to say, for England, he plays a lot better than he does at Everton. It's weird. Yeah, I don't get it. I get nervous sometimes. Even on my streams, I'm like, Pickford, mate, don't do an Everton mistake. Please don't do an Everton mistake. And funnily enough, he actually does all right. He does decent. But for Everton, he's dodgy. So, yeah.
Brilliant. Someone saying Mars really making a good point. The thing is, he's always making a good point. It's not a new thing. It's not a new thing. Younes, who's the... I'll give you the middle guy, and then I'll let Matisse choose the other two.
My gut instinct telling me it's going to be Tyrone Mings.
Oh, really? Where's Maguire? Maguire's not going to play?
Maguire probably on his left-hand side, and then Stones on his right-hand side.
All right, well, Matisse, do you agree with that?
That will be the back three.
Mings in the middle. Mings is the only left-footed centre-back out of all of them, so I would be surprised if he played in the middle.
I agree, but I do think with the way that we've used Maguire in our last game, I don't know why. I feel like because Mings was the one that got withdrew, I feel like those two might just still remain in their positions and just stick Mings in the middle. But that's just my gut feeling.
Who's the better ball player out of Mings, Maguire, and Stones? It has to be Maguire, wouldn't it?
We need God.
Long ball distribution.
We need God.
Long ball distribution, definitely Maguire. I think in terms of someone that can ping a ball a long distance, but in terms of passing,
you know what? I'm already loving this England lineup, man. Germany's going to win.
Do you know what it is? I don't like the defense, period. I really don't. I just don't like the defense. So this is probably the most problematic area to pick. The goalkeeper and the centre-backs is my least favourite part of this team.
And mate, most of our squad are defenders. So that tells you, like, we hate the squad.
There's no Tomori. You know, it's just I'm not a fan. I'd say Stones under pressure. I'd trust the most under the press, and then Maguire for the long ball. Yeah,
I'm already loving this. I can picture 2-0 Germany. This is a very, very bad England backline already. I can see. So it doesn't really matter. Let's just put in Maguire.
Maguire. Do you know why? I guess where Younes is coming from as well is that Maguire does like to play. Not like to play. He likes to make those surging runs as well. When he was at his best at Hull City. He used to make those runs into midfield, and he likes to go on these Rudiger type mazy runs where he carries the ball, and he's actually quite good at it, which is surprising for someone of his like build and size. So having someone like him in that position, despite not being left-footed, might help you break some lines of press if he does go on a run. And Mings in the middle, just a bit of pace maybe to cover him on the outside. I would be worried about Maguire in the wide spaces when it comes to dealing with who's on that wing, whether it's Sané or Gnabry, and they can both play both wings because they're both quite good with both feet. Getting pulled out 1v1 there would be a problem for me. So whoever's playing left wing back is going to have to 100% watch themselves over there.
By the way, we forgot a name. I don't know if Younes, you were going to say this or not. Kyle
yeah,
Walker.
I was just about to say shout out to Faris because that's a good suggestion. If we were to play possibly a Reece James as a right centre back and Kyle Walker as a right wing back, or vice versa, Kyle Walker as a right centre back and Reece James as a right wing back, that is a possibility. Yeah. But I think that's too logical, and Southgate won't do it.
I was going to say that looks a lot better now because for me that looks a lot stronger now. Walker and RJ on that
That does
side.
look a lot stronger, yeah.
And then it'll probably, you know what? Maybe Matisse is right. Maybe it's Stones, and then maybe it's Mings on this side.
If we're going to go,
I think Maguire will play.
You think Maguire will play?
Yeah, I think Maguire is probably likely to play. I'd prefer Stones in the middle than Mings. Personally, I know Mings is the bigger stature of player in terms of his size, and he's probably got a bit of pace about him as well, even though he's not the quickest, to be honest. I think I would prefer Stones because he reminds me of the inferior Christensen. Just a very. He's been, since he was young, Stones has always been quite a calm, sometimes too calm, of the centre back, very composed, very good. Playing out from the back. That was how he was at Everton, while Chelsea were linked with him under Jose Mourinho. He obviously took a dip at Man City, and he's been brought back by Ruben Diaz. He's had a good season as well at Man City. I don't even think Mings should potentially even be in this squad, let alone be starting in the middle there. So I'd go with Stones in the middle, just for the fact that he's going to be having to be the calmer head in the middle there, and the experience as well at this level.
I'll give Matisse Stones. I'll give Younes the last one, which is the LCB. Do you want Mings or Harry Maguire?
I mean, personally, I reckon Mings, but I think Southgate will go with Maguire.
Has Maguire played yet in the tournament?
Yeah.
One game.
Yeah, played one game. Yeah.
So he's probably going to...
It's just Maguire, man. I don't know about him, man.
I feel suspect. Maguire just feels suspect. But when he has a good game, he has a good game. It's weird with Maguire. He's so 50-50.
Yeah.
Who's going to be on the left side? Luke Shaw?
Yeah.
It will be Luke Shaw.
It's not going to be Chilwell, is it?
All of us will choose Chilwell.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not going to be Chilwell.
It will be Luke Shaw.
I love how Jose Mourinho is absolutely banging on about Shaw. It's beautiful.
Weird, isn't it? It's a weird expression from him. Someone like Luke Shaw, who hasn't really won much in the game, not one of the best left backs in the world, just having a very good season. Let's see if it's consistent. And Mourinho, of all people, are onto him. It's like
must have gone under his skin, man. Really must have.
Very strange behaviour.
Jose's on smoke.
This is Rice Phillips for you boys?
It has to be, doesn't it? I mean, otherwise, what was the point in playing them in those 3 games in the group stage when we didn't need to against inferior opposition if you wasn't going to play them now? For me, now you need to play the 2 DMs.
Or Henderson.
Nah, because Henderson's not played much football, especially not in the last few months at Liverpool. And you need to be at it in this game. That midfield is going to pull you apart in terms of the way that they pass and drag players. I just think you need 2 physically imposing players who have got minutes under their belt, and they've been playing together. So I want to see how they play together now when push comes to shove, when it matters. Now this is the test.
That midfielder against that German midfielder is strong. I don't know. Do you guys think Bellingham should play?
I always love Bellingham, and it really should have been Bellingham.
Especially as a Bundesliga player, as a Dortmund player, and the way he plays, I just feel like he has the chance to dominate that midfield, man. I'd love to see Bellingham there.
And you know what? Younes is progressive as well. Like he's not.
He is.
Worried to always go backwards. He looks forward, and defensively, I think he's very strong as well. And he's box to box. Like he doesn't get scared to go up and down like that. Whereas Rice, whether he's been told to just sit around here, maybe he has. I don't know, because Phillips is the one that does this. Phillips
has been the one doing it. I would love to see Bellingham because I think he's incredibly talented. And you know, we've done this before. We go for experience and we still get knocked out. So I don't really think experience comes into play, especially when Phillips is at his first tournament with England. So is Rice. So there's no experience in there anyway. If anything, you can say Bellingham's got more big game experience than the both of them. He's played Champions League level against Manchester City. For Dortmund, he's playing the Champions League campaign. So there's an argument to be had that he's played just as many big games this season as those two have. Obviously, Bayern Munich as well in the Bundesliga. So I would love to see him, but it's not going to happen.
I agree as well, man. It's going to be Rice and Phillips because that's how it's been. Boys, this is where it gets really tricky. I'll go with you, Younes. And this one, how I want you to think about is not just what Southgate will do, but what you want as well, and come up with a blend of what you think is what you think should be the best way to counter Germany, not necessarily what Southgate is going to do as well.
Personally, you see, I feel like there's a chance that this system could completely isolate Harry Kane, and that's my concern because we you know to get the best out of Harry Kane, you need to get him involved, and that's clear because so far.
Unless he does this, you know.
Well, exactly.
And maybe he can drop behind the DMs and pick up the ball off the centre backs again.
Well, this is the thing. We've seen him exactly. We've seen him do that because that's his only way of getting involved. If not, he's just up there having a picnic and nothing arrives. It's crazy. So, personally, me, I'd go Grealish. My gut's telling me to stick with Harry Kane just because you can't just leave Harry Kane out just for the sake of it. It's Harry Kane. As long as you play to his strengths, you get the best out of him. Worst comes to worst, you bring Calvert-Lewin on. But I'd go Grealish, Kane, and either Sancho or Saka, one of them. But for me, as mad as it is because he just seems to be the one getting a goal here and there, Sterling doesn't start for me.
Wow. I thought he'd probably be the first one in.
Sterling doesn't start.
2 goals. I think England scored 2 goals so far and all Sterling. So
yeah, it's kind of like who's going to score?
It's going to be a new scorer.
Unless, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if Southgate does a bit of a madness and decides to go over false 9 and stick Sterling as that false 9. That is a big possibility.
That's what I was going to say. Because
he's quitting England then.
Do you know what? In this system, we've seen it under Thomas Tuchel. Some movement and some fluidity up front doesn't go amiss, you know, especially when he's opted to go with Timo Werner instead of a natural number 9 at times when he said why. The reason why I say this is because to build off Younes's point, if they get isolated, this front, you know, the striker, because we end up folding into a back 5 with the 2 DMs behind the ball, and then Grealish will probably, you know, one of these AMs will probably drop in, especially if it's Mason Mount, he will definitely drop in, which I don't think it will be him, and I'm actually tempted not to even play him from the jump because I just think it actually might become too defensive. Then the striker up front needs to have some mobility because otherwise you're counting on every single ball being perfect, an inch perfect to their feet or to their chest to hold up. You're counting on Pickford to be able to, or Maguire, or whoever's going to spray the long balls to be inch perfect. And we've seen with Belgium, with Lukaku, if you've got someone who's a bit of a runner, now obviously Lukaku's the dream scenario because he's actually strong and he's an actual striker as well. But if you have someone that's a bit of a runner who can run the channels, get on the ball, stretch the pitch, win fouls up the top of the pitch, and then bring the team up, bring others into play, you're more likely to be able to do something. And my worry with Harry Kane is similar to Younes, is that he will get isolated in this formation. And he won't be able to get about and get on the ball because it's going to, it will have to be very accurate to him. I'm very tempted to go because, listen, what's happening so far is not working, right, with Harry Kane. So there's no point trying something over and over again and expecting different results, in my opinion. No player, yes, he's the best player in the team, but for me, anyone can get dropped. This is for the good of the country. We're trying to win the game, right? And he can come on. And I think a lot of things haven't been taken into account of Kane is that he may actually be physically fatigued. He's played every game for Tottenham near enough. And he's played, every game near enough for Tottenham. Huge responsibility to outperform normality in the fact that they don't create many chances. He's got to take nearly all of them. I'd play Sterling up front over a Rashford. Because I think Sterling, look, we've seen it with Timo Werner. Just because you're playing up front and you're making those runs doesn't mean you're actually going to be the pinpoint of the attack, because Timo Werner ends up wide half the time, creating the chances for others. And
it's fluid front three.
And I play Grealish and I play Saka, and that's three players that are, they're mobile. They're going to get on the ball. Sterling has scored, so that's kind of why I'm keeping him in there, and I think he'll do the running. Grealish is obviously going to create the opportunities, and Saka had a really good game last game. And I think that just allows England at least to have some sort of mobility and some link-up play, and players will at least cause problems. Because I think that Germany defence is there to be got at if they keep moving and they keep it fluid. But I know probably people will disagree because Harry Kane's not in there. But
Younes, how you feel?
If this is mad, because look, if you just look at that team now. How defensive is that, man? We've got 3 attackers on the pitch.
This is the thing. And if you put Mason Mount in there, which people are suggesting, Mason Mount's more defensive than any of those 3 I've put up there. And he will 100%, because it's ingrained in his brain, to funnel back and make that a midfield free. And it will become a midfield free. And then you'll have 2 up top.
Oh, my God.
And if you're going to go 2 up top, you definitely need mobility, because you cannot play Harry Kane next to a striker, next to just any AM and expect them to be able to link up. You need to have 2 mobile players up front so they can go out wide and run the channels. So
you know what the crazy part is, boys, that we have not always thought about? Harry Kane's not the quickest player out there. Like, that's something we forget.
He's the slowest.
Yeah, he's not quick, and he doesn't need to be quick, because obviously he's made his trade in scoring goals, and he doesn't rely on his pace, which is fantastic. It's why I like him so much, because he doesn't rely on his pace to be a top player. And I think sometimes those are some of the players that are not only the most intelligent, but they last the longest as well in terms of longevity, as long as he stays away from those injuries. But I just think, same with Sancho, the reason why I haven't got him in the team. Southgate doesn't know how to use him or get the best out of him. And so far, I've seen 3 games and Kane has been useless in all 3 of them. Not just down to his own, it's not just down to him, it's down to the team as a whole. So why continue to play him if I haven't... do you know what I mean? This is potentially the last game that England are going to play. There's no point for me wasting time. I think he can come on the bench.
100. I'm so absolutely in agreement with the Kane situation. I've watched those England matches, bar the Czech one, and most of the times I've tweeted throughout the match that, is Kane actually playing? Like, I don't know if he even touches the ball. So, Younes, before we move on to the Germany side of things, which I'll go through quite quickly, I mean, this is probably not what Southgate's going to do. You just know he's gonna have Kane up front. He's probably going to have Sterling. Whether he has Grealish, I'm not really sure. There is the question mark about Mason Mount. I mean,
he's definitely
looking at that team, Younes. I mean, how's your stream going to be for Twitch?
I'm honestly going to be just living in hope right now. I feel like, it's out of our control. We're just going to have to just pray. Like, I might, you know what I might do on Twitch? I might, before the game, just get a collective prayer.
As Matisse said, we need God.
we need man. We need God. We need all sorts, man. When I look at that team, I'm just not confident.
Neither am I. And that's the team we've selected.
And this is the team we selected. Exactly. Like, we know Kane will start. We know Sterling will start 100%. That means either Grealish or Saka, just from this alone, isn't going to play. And to be honest, like, when I look at this, Saka had a good game against Czech Republic, right? Yeah. Great game. Fair enough to the lad. But a game of this magnitude, man, I'm scared that he will. Yeah, exactly. It's a lot of pressure.
It's also the fearlessness in him that's got me put him in the team, because it's like he's been not carrying Arsenal, but he's been one of Arsenal's best players. And at times when he's not there, they look a shadow of themselves. Same with Smith Rowe. Sancho has not been playing many games anyway, so he's not got any momentum coming into this game to start him. And Saka is,
Do you think this would suit Sancho? I mean, it's German.
For sure, this was.
If it was Dortmund's version of Sancho, then yes. But England's version of Sancho is not Sancho. I haven't seen him in an England shirt perform anywhere near the level of how he has at Dortmund. And again,
fair, when was his last full game?
I don't know. That's part of the reason why I haven't even put him in, because I just think if you're going to play a front three, it would also be nice to have a left footer in there, just to have a bit of balance. And so it's not so one-sided in terms of the approach, the way that they go forward. But I just think Saka running at Goossens, it's not the matchup everybody would have had in their heads in terms of experience, in terms of player, stature, in terms of experience playing in the Bundesliga. All the arrows lead to Sancho. But I just think Saka just having the fearlessness of just like, and I think England need to have a bit of that. That's whenever I've seen England do well in big games. Again, they just need to have that naivety and a bit of fearlessness to them. If England come into this game with any fear and players that are fearful, this is why I've gone really with Grealish and Saka, because they don't strike me as fearful players. If you go with any fear into this game, in terms of just the personalities up front, then this is going to be a wrap before it's even started. I just think
this is the thing. Sorry, like in terms of the approach. What do you guys think the best approach would be? To play pragmatic, to play defensive and try and break on a counter, or to actually try and take the game to Germany? Which way is best?
I'd go counter, and that's why I go with a quick front three. I'd go counter.
Younes, last World Cup, when Germany did not get out of group stage, they got demolished by counters. They got ripped up by South Korea, Mexico, and Sweden. Like, that's the group that Germany didn't get out of. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and France done it to them this time anyway.
Yeah, France did it to them. And also Hungary on the counter were just absolutely pinpoint.
At the same time, Portugal tried that. And I mean, fair enough, they scored 2 own goals, but they flopped.
Yeah, I mean, Portugal don't really have the quickest front line in. Well, Ronaldo's 36, isn't he?
the thing with the Portugal one, I reckon, Younes, was, I don't know if their midfield was just potent enough to find those quick passes up front and release the front men. Is our
midfield potent enough?
I think the only change I would potentially make in this midfield, if I'm to be even more daring, is to actually take out Declan Rice, put Phillips back, and put Bellingham in there.
That's exactly what I would have done. Bellingham and
that makes it the most progressive, midfield you could possibly want in there. And it gives you a little bit more of that box-to-box Goretzka type mold in Bellingham, who's a little bit more box-to-box, a little bit more daring. And again, we're not favourites. I'm not expecting us to go through. I'm very risky with this team in terms of playing young players, because we've seen experience before. Jordan Henderson against Croatia in the semi-final World Cup dropped an absolute stinker. One of his worst performances, period, that I've ever seen him play, probably since the Sunderland days. He was just hoofing the ball up the field, no composure, no intelligence on the ball. Every time he touched the ball, he hoofed it forward. It's like he was playing hot potato. He didn't even want the ball. So when people talk about experience, I'm just like, I'm not really interested with this England team, because I've seen it all before. So yeah, I think Bellingham for Rice would be the only potential change there. If you're looking at transition, just because you play counter, as we've seen with Chelsea, doesn't mean you're fearful, because Chelsea have played counter at times and relied on transitions in Champions League. And they've been brilliant, because when you do get those opportunities to transition and counter, you make the most of it, and you hit them where it hurts. You hit them on the break. So a bit of speed up there, I think. Yeah.
Well, let's see if I can scare the English boys a little bit to see what.
I'm already scared, bro. I'm already scared. There's not even any names yet.
I'm going to quickly breeze through and then get your thoughts on this, boys, because I feel this is. I'm going to have my flavor, but I'm also going to put what Joachim Löw has been doing so far. Let's see how you guys feel about this. I'm actually not. I like Ginter. Ginter's actually been all right. I think we were at one stage last season, might have been linked with Ginter as well. So, I don't think he's entirely a bad player. But this guy right here, Kimmich. That's the guy you need to be. Who's on that side? Luke Shaw.
Luke Shaw's got one hell of a game ahead of him.
It's a wrap.
If he does well in that game, Jose Mourinho will never speak about him again.
Yeah, but if he gets destroyed, Mourinho's going to be having his flipping cup of tea, feet up.
He's going to have a podcast on him.
I was right.
I think that's how you spell Goretzka. I'm maybe wrong.
Goretz.
Did I get it
Actually,
right?
no. Do you think Goretzka or do you think Gundogan?
So this is the thing. I would like it to be Goretzka, but I think it'll be Gundogan.
Yeah,
but the reason why I like it to be Goretzka is because he's more inclined to be in these areas. Yeah. And Cruz can act as the register, I suppose. That's what he's been doing. Whereas Cruz and Gundogan, there's two registers. They all want to just go sideways and backwards at times. It's not the same Gundogan that I've seen for Man City, where he's looking for those key passes between the lines and whatnot. So I would personally like it to be Leon Goretzka.
Goretzka is more of a threat going forward. However, now if he gets caught up the pitch in that attacking midfield position there in the number 10, and England do get a chance to transition, and it's just Kroos centrally, who's aging, and as we saw against Chelsea in the Champions League semi-final, Mason Mount kind of had his way with him at times, and Kai Havertz. That now is where I'm talking about, where England have the opportunity to transition. And potentially this is leaning me towards Bellingham, because look at the pace that Goretzka's got. Do you know what I mean? He could just run, he could just steamroll through in terms of mobility there. I think a bit of pace going up against Toni Kroos wouldn't go amiss there. So I like that midfield is very... It's got its strengths because Goretzka's a great.
It's got weaknesses,
but it's got weaknesses as well. It's got
It
weaknesses.
could also be a point of. It could also be a point because when you look at the past 3 games that Germany have had, every game they've started Kroos and Gundogan, and Goretzka's come on. It could be a case of Goretzka coming on. And changing the game.
Yeah.
And that would be peak for England. I'm not going to lie.
And up front, I believe this should be the way. I don't want to see Sane on the right side, because he's not one of those players, classical players where, Robin type or let's say a Ziyech type that can be on the wide and cutting. That's not what he does. Sane is far better in these sort of areas. And Gnabry, I don't want him in the middle. I want him here where he can cut in and whip in the shots. And for Bayern Munich, he's so lethal in that position. And then Goossens can get the overlapping runs as well.
You're not going to play. You're not going to play Sane.
I'm not going to play Sane in this one. I'm going to go with this.
But Sane could come off the bench and again do a madness.
Look, it could very well be, say.
They all interchange very well.
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
very well be like this as well, boys. Do you know what I mean? So, but I feel like I don't need to have that much pace because England is going to sit back. So
Kai will come deeper, I think.
That's why I'm going with something like this, and I need someone smart operator up there, Muller, to get in between the 3 defenders of England. So, boys, this is the lineup. First of all, Younes, thoughts of the German lineup?
Scared. I'm honestly like, no. Honestly, it's a very consistent team. It's a team where you just know the starting 11, as we've seen. Lowe's gone with pretty much the same 11 every game, except for the odd change here and there. If it's Sane or if it's that's it. If it's Sane, I think Sane has only been the only one that has been altered up top and taken off Muller and brought Sane on. That is the only change. Everything else has been the same. Obviously, here Goretzka in the past games, as I've already said, Gundogan's the one that is the one that plays there. Yeah. but you just know what's going to show up, and you just know this will be the team, and it's so consistent. And to be honest, the threat they have up top is deadly. The defense they have is solid. I mean, just Rudiger in itself scares me because he's one of us.
This is the only guy that worries me, Younes.
Hummels.
He's the only guy who seems to be. He's very good on the ball. He's obviously a leader, but he does fall asleep, man. You do have the opportunity if you're in between these lines. And Rudy does what he has to do, but if Hummels not picking up the runs like the way he didn't against Hungary and also against France, where I know Mbappe is quicker than almost everyone, but man, that's the player that you can aim. And besides that, I can't see any other massive weakness. I mean, Goosen's fair enough, but this is the only one that I can see.
This is the system that protects that position very well, though. If your main centre back is having a bit of a clanger, you've got two players to cover you, and you've got wing backs to cover them. It's just so robust. And their two other centre backs, Rudy and Ginter, have looked fantastic. Their wing backs have looked fantastic. Gosens and Kimmich have energy for days. They don't stop running. It's worrying. I'm not going to lie, it's worrying. We'll see how England actually set up and what their approach is like. But I'm scared. This is my concern, that we'll sit back, we'll try and hit the counter, and we won't get any counters. That's my concern. Like, Germany will have dominance on the ball. They'll be solid defensively. They'll wing back possession. They'll go again, and England will just be there. That's my worry.
Yeah, no, Fairs. Some people are saying Ms. Rudy might be out and Muller's injured. Look, it doesn't matter. I mean, at the end of the day, if Rudy is injured, I'm not really sure who the backup at the moment is for Germany, because Rudy has been playing all the way. But I'm not entirely worried.
Rudy's going to have to be really, really injured to not play this game, because he will run for a truck to play in this game.
Exactly. Yeah. I think maybe it's Sule that might come in, Nicolas Sule.
If he comes in now, I'm licking my lips on that defense, because he's a drop off in quality in terms of him versus Rudiger, and that's where I think Hummels. This is why I want runners, man, because I think if you put a natural number 9 on Hummels, he's probably gonna prefer that. If he's looking at it from his own position as an aging centre back, he'd probably prefer average speed, natural number 9 that he can get close to, in comparison to nippy little wingers where potentially penalties can be won, a little bit of trickery, a little bit of low sense of gravity. I think he would. I think I know what he would choose, so I would go with the opposite. Yeah, so that's the area where you'd want to target on transition.
Just want to say, Rudiger did come back to training. Everyone's fit in the German camp.
As Matisse said, Rudiger would do his level best to make sure that
Rudiger's not playing against England at Wembley. You crazy? Do you know who's got a really, really good record of scoring goals at Wembley? Is Gnabry.
Yes.
He did. Not Wembley, but just scoring in London in general.
Yeah.
Scored against us. Scored against Tottenham. Yeah.
And generally this position, right, Matisse?
Yeah, in that position, cutting in. And the thing is with him is that whatever side he's on, he's very dangerous, because he's not shy to shoot on his left, which I like about him as well. He's come up a long way since the West Brom days where Tony Pulis didn't rate him. I'm telling you, it's been some rise from him. Yeah. He, for me, is the player that we got to watch, because I think Kai. Thing is with Kai, what I like about Kai is that he's extremely dangerous, but you can see him coming, because he doesn't always move at a blistering speed. Do you know what I mean? He's usually playing in his own time, on his own pace, and the threat is there. You can clearly see it in front of you. It's just that you probably can't stop it. Gnabry is one that will just, in the blink of an eye, Kroos can just put that ball over the top, bang, Gnabry's gone. The next thing you know, you're stretched and you've got issues. So yeah, that's actually where I see the most likely goal scorer actually is Gnabry at Wembley. I think he's just written.
Before we go into the score prediction and whatnot, I want to hear from both you boys. First of all, Matisse, Kai Havertz. How do you think he's feeling about this particular fixture?
Oh man, he's just. They're probably going to be wearing their all black kit as well. He's just looking unreal, man. I think he's excited. You're coming up against, you're coming back to London, playing against maybe some of your teammates as well if they play. and he's scoring goals for Germany. So he's been their main goal outlet as well, and their main threat up front. So I think he's buzzing. I'm just really happy for him, man, because
I feel like he's going to be so looking forward for a goal. He just, being the English media and everything, I just feel like Matisse, this guy is ready. He's ready to score one and put one away against England.
Yeah, more than likely. Yeah, this is where England's defense, man, is going to have the game of his life, because that front three, even if you put Sané in there, I still think Sané would cause problems. So despite the form, I think England's defense, that's where this game will be won or lost. If England can't defend the way they have been up until now, but this is now the ilk of attack where you judge a defense on. So let's see what they do.
Younes, one area, Kai Havertz.
Kai Havertz. He's been probably Germany's best player.
Yeah,
and he's so consistent. He finished off the season so well. He's gone to the Euros. He's just kept that going. He's playing against England. The occasion gets big again. He's going to step up. He's going to play well. He might even score. He might get a winner. He'll finish the competition. We'll see how far he goes. He'll come back to Chelsea. He'll go even further. So, Kai Havertz, now look, honestly, I'm happy for him. I'm glad that he's playing very well. Tomorrow, I don't want him to play well. I think he will, though. I think he'll probably end up becoming man of the match. No, Kai Havertz has been superb. What would hurt? And this is unlikely, but if it happens, I'll cry. Yeah, is if Timo Werner comes off the bench and gets a win.
Oh no!
If that happened, I would lock myself in my room for days.
Imagine he comes in and he scores one after missing so many. He actually puts one away. Oh my day!
Mad.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the lineup. We've got the England lineup, as you guys already seen. Grealish up top, Sterling, Saka. I mean, this is what the boys have gone through, but I'm not really sure if that's really going to happen. I think Kane's probably going to start, but Phillips, Rice, the back line is bang on. There's no doubt about that. And this is the Germany line. Müller, Gnabry, Kai Havertz, Goretzka, Kroos, Gosens, Kimmich, Rudy, Hummels, Ginter, Neuer. Obviously, these are the predicted lineups. Let's wrap things up. Younes, how do you think the match is going to pan out in your mind? What you're thinking, what's going to happen, and score prediction? and also full time in 90 minutes or extra time penalties?
In 90 minutes. In 90 minutes. I mean, logically, realistically, you've got to be real. England are losing, right? but I don't want to say that before a game because anything's possible and it's at Wembley and you never know if England might just have a good day at the office. So you have to say the whole head-heart thing again, isn't it? It's just how it is.
Yeah. As soon as Younes does the head-heart thing,
you already know we've lost. We've lost.
my head is telling me Germany 2-0 win. And my heart is telling me 1-0 England is coming home.
It's coming home. Matisse, what's your thoughts? How it's going to pan out?
I'm not going to do the head over heart thing. The only saving grace for England is the fact that every underdog, well, the Czech Republic were the underdogs and they got through. So maybe this is underdog season. Maybe this is opposite day, opposite week. I don't know. I would hope that for England's sake, because they're not favourites going into this. I'm going to continue to do what I've done so far, which is go against England, and then it might give them
the reverse.
Yeah, I'll go for the reverse Uno flip. So, and also because that's what I think is going to happen. So I'm going to give Germany the 2-0 win.
Yeah, man. Look, as I said, Germany hasn't been in the top. In the best form in this particular competition either, and from what I've seen with England as well, it's not like they're absolutely burning things up either. If I was to go for a winner, it has to be Germany because they play the progressive game. They're gonna probe, they're gonna try and find that gap, and they're gonna try and go for the goal. Whereas how I think England is gonna play is sit back, try their level best to nick a goal with a counter. How they're gonna counter with Harry Kane, that's the thing. I'm not really sure if Kane is the quickest player to be part of a counter, but that's the only way. I just can't imagine how England actually takes the game to Germany and plays toe-to-toe, because that would actually be very entertaining. For me, that would be a blockbuster game then. But I think it's going to be more Kroos and Goretzka or Gundogan, whoever, controlling the ball, probing and propping, and hopefully Germany puts away at least a goal or two and see what happens. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is the preview done. We've talked about the build-up, the matchups, the lineups, the score prediction. Before we go, please smash the like button. Let's get the likes up. And also, Matisse, what you got coming up, man, so that everyone can sort of tune in on yours soon after this?
Today we have a England-Germany preview as well with Livs, who's an Arsenal fan, KG, who's a Leeds fan, and then Aaron from Man United fan as well, who's also part German as well. So that's going to be interesting. So I've never had any of them on my channel before, so I'm actually quite excited to have them on. It's been a long time coming. So we're going to do that at 10 p.m. Stream after all the games are over.
Perfect.
Yeah, I think that's it from me today. I think I was gonna drop a video. I don't know, potentially if I'll do that before then. Double upload is asking a lot during Euros.
And double uploads are tough. I don't know how Younes does it, man. Like, honestly, and then there's Lee Gunner that does 3 uploads. Like, one is hard enough. But Younes, what you got coming up, my man?
So today is actually a bit of an exciting day. I've got the England-Germany preview that I'm going to do. I've got my first Reddit video being done today. That's gonna be fun.
Wow!
Yeah, because I started a Reddit. I
heard Reddit is actually a good platform for like proper football discussion. I don't know, like I heard that you don't get that many idiots over there.
No, but this is the beautiful thing with Reddit. Like, people are just honest and real there. Like, there's no filter, but in a good way. It's weird. Yeah. So, I started a community page, and I just know the amount of trolling, banter, crazy posts. It's going to be fun to react to. So I'm doing that video. That is going to be a weekly thing, and that's being released later tonight. And then I'm doing a Twitch stream for the France-Switzerland game. So yeah. And then
that's the game you've selected.
Yeah, that's the game I've selected.
Spain's on as well, right? Spain,
Croatia at 5
Spain,
o'clock.
Croatia, but
I think that might actually be a good game.
Croatia have been nothing like themselves in terms of what they were previously in the World Cup, and Spain are just absolutely disgusting to watch. I know they won 5-0, and I'm still saying that. So yeah. Let's see what the Swiss have got.
Yeah, man. I don't really know how Spain got that 5-0. You're right. They've been so abysmal, man. They should have lost against Sweden. Probably should have lost against the other team that they played. Can't remember who it was. But yeah, man, France, Switzerland will be interesting as well. I think we haven't really seen best of France either, right? Like they haven't really clicked into gear yet. So it'll be interesting to see what they're up to. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. That's a wrap. Hope to see you guys. I may do a review post-match England-Germany, so do look out for that. But yeah, until next time, everyone, take care and see you.